What a way to begin. Welcome back, everybody, to Scramble Drill. Ben is going to be slapping a wig on for Halloween, dressing up as Shane Gillis, dressing up as somebody else. It's going to be an absolutely wonderful time.
I'm sure you can guess who.
Happy, what is this? Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is Monday night for us, Tuesday morning for you. Ben, my good buddy, my good pal, how you doing?
Me personally, I'm okay. My fantasy teams, let's be honest, they're in shambles. But I mean, we've been playing this game for how many years now? It's not often when they're in good shape. Let's say that.
There's always reason
or at
for
least
pessimism.
not that my mental capacity can handle. At least
There's always something, right? It's, I mean, in my case, I feel like I'm just in the doldrums. I have the log team that I can always lean on, right? I mean, I'm just going to pin it. It's the Wolverine meme, right? When he's laying in bed at night, he's just looking at the picture. The picture for me is the Ordinary Gentleman team. Everything else, though, it's just in flames, burning down to the ground. And that's everything else. The log team, I'm sitting there staring at the picture. It's like, look at this picture. Don't focus on anything else because everything else is burning down to the ground.
my log team, I need a Monday Night Miracle, a big one in that league. Highly unlikely. Granddaddy of them all, I'm projected to win. I would like about 30 points from Chris Godwin to make sure, but I'm projected to win.
The way he has been going, I think there's a pretty decent chance
Well, the
you
Ravens,
get 30 points out of Chris Godwin.
he's got Baker and Mike Evans. I've got Chris Godwin. Listen, it's nothing against Mike Evans, but I would love for him to have maybe one catch for 2 yards.
He has been known to do it every now and then.
Yeah, but he had a bad game
there's
last
always
week
a
against
chance.
Marshawn Lattimore, so he's due for about 3 touchdowns on 4 catches, 180 yards, like he likes to do.
That would be your luck, wouldn't it?
Y'all gonna have to stop me because I'll be finding a bridge.
You're going to be checking around.
Send help. Send help.
What is the highest height that you can leap off of and just make it instantaneous?
Honestly, around where I live, I'm gonna have to drive for a while.
I had that thought when you said bridge. I was like, there's not many bridges around you, are there?
There's one, like over the Wateree River. I mean, it's a fairly big river, but I don't know. I might dislocate a shoulder jumping off there, but not much else.
That's not going to do it. That's not going to get it done.
That's just going to make it worse because now I've got to go to the hospital. My clavicle's broken. Jeez.
Oh, well, that's what fantasy football's done to us at this point in the season, and the injuries just keep coming. We've got more of them this week. There's one piece of news that's it's incredibly exciting. It's also an injury, but we got to take our medicine before we can have our sugar. DK Metcalf week to week with a MCL sprain, which is just lovely because my
Excellent.
granddaddy of them all team also happens to have DK Metcalf. And if you've been paying attention, basically every major injury in fantasy football is on that roster. So
Slap another one on the list.
what's one more, right? Brandon Ayuk tore his ACL, done for the season.
Just traded for him, so that's great.
Love that. Isn't that your favorite thing ever when you make a
Jeez.
trade for a player and then they immediately get
And one of the
super
guys
injured?
involved in the trade was T. Higgins. And T. Higgins has been nothing short of phenomenal the past 3 weeks. Ever since I traded him, he's had like no less than 20 points.
Yeah.
Pissing me off.
What is it? Touchdowns in 3 straight weeks.
He's out targeting
great.
Jamar Chase. He's scoring touchdowns. He's getting yards. Like, what are we doing?
Love that for you. Jaden Daniels injured his ribs on Sunday. We still don't have any conclusive, much of anything.
My prince.
Other than I saw a quote that said they don't believe it's serious.
I
So
think he'll be fine.
he's probably
ribs,
okay.
Ribs were not cracked, so he's probably just bruised. So it's going to hurt if he gets popped on it, but
Yeah.
he's fine.
Aiden O'Connell broke his thumb. He'll be out 4 to 6 weeks.
I hate that
Nobody
for him,
cares.
but he is the same thing as Gardner Minshew. They are interchangeable. It doesn't matter.
They are the same player. It's really funny. Okay, here is the sugar. the good part, the thing that we can all get excited about.
Maybe you can.
Well, I know you're not mad about it. Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles, out for the year. To all those Browns players that were saying that they were angry that everybody was booing Deshaun Watson, cheering for his injury, listen. Of all the players in the NFL, like we don't wish injuries on anyone. In fact, I don't even know that I wished an injury on this certain individual, but I'm just going to put it like this. There are people that injuries can happen to, and it just feels like perhaps there's a bit of a cosmic comeuppance when it comes to certain injuries. This was one of those where it was like, I don't know, man. Couldn't have happened to a better guy.
Won't go super in depth on it, but Deshaun Watson's out for the year.
Also,
It is what it is.
He's not missing anything. He's still going to get paid every single dime of his mega contract.
Oh,
so
you
fine.
can slice both of my Achilles for that contract. I will happily sit on the couch and accept that check while my Achilles, I can limp for the rest of my life. That's okay.
Yeah, he will want for absolutely nothing. He's just fine. In actual good news, Tua Tagovailoa is confirmed to return in Week 8, so all of your Miami Dolphins, finally, you can play them again. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane. Okay, we can do it again.
These players.
I've got one of them.
I do not have any of them.
Got one. Even the guy that isn't injured, Devon Achane, is killed because of injury on the Granddaddy Mall team. I mean, I can't dodge bullets, Ben. They are flying everywhere, and I am just getting destroyed with all of them. It's like when you played airsoft when you were in high school. I don't know if you did or you didn't.
Yeah, I'd have friends for that. Just kidding.
I had a couple of them, and I was the guy that, you'd walk out from behind the tree and instantly just bam, 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 bam. It's like, oh, whoa.
That's because you just don't have any tactics or strategy, Josh, it sounds like.
No, I did not.
In a war zone, you're just walking out in front of trees? What are you, crazy?
Yeah. I was in middle school, okay? I didn't go to Navy SEALs training in California at 11 years old.
Well, you should have.
I probably should have. It would have helped.
Just be out there wrecking some kids.
It would have
breaking necks to conserve ammo. Like, what happened to Billy? Clip went out. Had to do what I had to do.
Gun jammed. What are you gonna do? Final piece of actual good news: Cooper Kupp will play Thursday night for the Rams. Help is on the way, folks.
Thank goodness.
Help is on the way.
Need him in several leagues.
I need
Provide a
him.
spark.
I need him so badly. So badly. But here we are. Did I miss anything? Has anybody else gotten injured in the 10 minutes it took us to talk about injuries?
I don't think so. There's definitely some guys who played like they were injured, but I don't think anyone was actually injured.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So
shall we talk about some games?
Let's get into it.
All righty. The Broncos and Saints played in a peachy little Thursday night affair last week. There are legitimately there's nothing worth saying about the Saints, so we're not going to mention them at all.
Javonte Williams is playable going forward.
That was going to be my question for you because he's been building up to it. I think the past few weeks, it's been solid, like the yards per carry have come up, and he's been really good receiving all year long. I think it was as of last week.
That's kept him at a decent floor the whole year, I feel like.
Right. He's had a fairly decent floor, and then he finally scored. He hadn't scored all year prior to Thursday, not Sunday. Has 2 touchdowns, goes for 88 yards on just 14 carries. Looked actually good. So,
and he gets Carolina next week, so you definitely play him again in that matchup.
That's the thing is, if it's going to happen again, Carolina is the matchup you really want to have chalked up, ready to go.
I mean, what we'll talk about the game later, but Jaden Daniels went out on the very first drive, and Marcus Mariota had the Carolina or Commanders had like 37 points to start the fourth quarter. That's how bad they are. That's how bad they are.
Yep. Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels went out. The score was 10-0, and then Marcus Mariota went on to beat the Panthers 30-7. So
good Lord, 40-7.
Well, that was the final, but Marcus Mariota scored 30 points by himself.
You got beat so bad that they pulled Marcus Mariota. They pulled him. I said,
"Oh yeah,
you don't need to be out there anymore, sir. You're okay."
Oh yeah.
Actually,
the London game,
him, but anyway,
the London game was a
travesty.
Well, yeah. I mean, we sent out 2 1-5 teams to play in England. Like, who?
Just
who
you
did
wait.
This?
World War III is on the way when we send Carolina and the Giants into Germany.
Oh gosh.
You think you think the Germans aren't going to take that personally?
We're still punishing them for the events of 1945.
There might be something
Munich
in the
game.
Geneva Convention about this one, though.
Yes. Oh, jeez.
That's not fair, guys. That's not nice.
That's just
We usually
spiteful.
reserve that for Thursday Night Football. Not as an ambassador of the U.S.
Oh, jeez. The Jags absolutely thumped the Patriots 32-16. Drake May looked good. Once again, it came in a losing effort, but he put up 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I was impressed, all things considered.
I mean, given how horrible his situation is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with a guy like that, you just don't want to see him go out there and go like 8 for 20 for 100 yards and 2 picks. What you don't want is you don't want the Anthony Richardson stat line. And Drake May is doing halfway decent.
Have you flipped on Anthony Richardson? I'm just curious. Like,
he is okay. We'll talk about Richardson once we get to the Colts game.
Let's do this one first. You're right.
Yeah. So Drake May was interesting. Okay, Jaguars. Tank Bigsby, 100 yards, 2 tutties. Brian Thomas, 90 yards, a tutty. Brian Thomas is 5th in the NFL in receiving yards right now. I don't know if you saw that one yet.
I believe it. He catches a deep pass every game.
He is excellent. Excellent.
At the expense of Christian Kirk.
I saw a list of I think it was like the only players to score more fantasy points than him as rookies. And on that list were, like, the worst player on that list was Mike Evans. It was Odell Beckham. It was Malik Neighbors, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, a few others. Mike Evans was the lowest points per game on that list. And then Brian Thomas. So he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, he's very good. He's doing it. I mean, I was high on him at the beginning during the college football season, right at the beginning. I kind of went lower because the more and more I watched, I'm like, is he just going to be like a big play deep threat like a Mike Williams or somebody like that? No, he's just a complete receiver. He's just great all around.
Oh, yeah. He's fantastic. And I love that it happened on Sunday with 5 targets. So, like, the volume's not crazy, but the efficiency is through the roof.
To be fair, Trevor Lawrence only threw 20 passes. So if you look at the market share, he and Evan Ingram both had 5 targets. So, I mean, math is hard. That's 20%, 25% of each of those got a 25% target share on Sunday. So, on that respect, that's really good.
On a selfish note, I kind of hope Travis Etienne stays out for a very long time.
That's not very nice. Just because he went to Clemson doesn't mean he's like the rest of them.
I mean, he has been so inefficient on the ground. And then Tank Bigsby goes in there, and he was averaging like 7 yards a carry up until Sunday. And then he has 26 carries and averages 4.5 a carry. Like, I truly think we're at a point now where we can have the conversation, like, is Travis Etienne maybe just not that good of a runner? or at least not as good as he should be.
It's possible. I mean, I don't know. He's faced the harder competition for sure. I mean, I'm not sold on the Patriots defense or at all.
Oh no, it's not good.
And
yeah, it's not
Bigsby
great.
also barely had any involvement in the passing game, so which ETN does get passing. I don't know.
That is true. I mean,
I've heard his name tossed around as a trade candidate, which that would be great.
ETN would be real good wearing some Chiefs red right now. That's all I'll say.
They got Kareem Hunt, dude. They ain't going to get anybody else. They love Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, they won't. I don't know where
who could
go,
use him though. Who could use him? Trying to think.
I am.
Maybe the Bucks. The Bucks could use him.
I don't even know if they need him.
I don't think they need him, but the Bucks could use him. Maybe no. The Bills have James Cook. I don't know.
I don't either. I feel like the league is pretty well stocked with running back talent at the moment.
Yeah, and another thing, like it's scary for ETN's dynasty value is look at the class that's coming in.
Yeah,
I mean, they got 4 or 5 names who like legitimately have, if they could get drafted in to be starting running backs. So when you got fringe guys like ETN, they're like, this guy might be losing his job. That's not a good sign with a good class coming in.
The Seahawks thumped your Falcons. This was, just on a fandom note, this was kind of nice to see. It's infuriating, though.
For you.
It was nice for me. But it was still infuriating. Like, we won 34-14, and it was still frustrating to watch Seattle play offense because it's so hot and cold. But that's neither here nor there.
Here's a question. How high is Kenneth Walker in your rest of season rankings?
He's fairly high.
He's got to be up there, dude.
He is fairly high. He had 2 targets on Sunday, but he scored the touchdown, obviously. We know what he is on the ground. The thing is,
he's been getting a lot more receiving work, too.
Yes. I need to pull up where his target numbers are for the season for running backs because I think they are pretty good, like top 5 at the position sort of thing. But let's just see here. Target numbers for running backs. Kenneth Walker's 5th, which is pretty nice. 26 targets so far in the season, 160 yards already on the ground or in the air.
That's pretty good. That's really good.
You will take it, won't you? He's tied for 5th with Devon Achane, but you know what I mean.
I will take that.
I think rest of season he is probably 7th or better.
I think he's definitely got to be top 7. Pushing. I mean, if he keeps on this pace, he's pushing the top 5 for sure.
Why don't we do the little exercise then? I think
Saquon.
Yes, Saquon. I think Breece is in there.
Breece is up there. With the past 2 weeks since we're on the game, I think with the past 2 weeks, Bijan is pretty much back to being top 5. So you got Saquon, Breece, Bijan. Rams.
Oh, yeah.
Kyron Williams.
Kyron
Williams.
4. Yep. Holy cow, I just blanked. Kamara, is he in there for you?
Yeah, Kamara and PPR leagues, probably Kamara. And I will say this, most of these guys are kind of interchangeable for me. The only guy I have for sure at 1 is Saquon.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a tier 1 thing. So, I'm just kind of listing the guys I've had there. And then Kenneth Walker. So, that's 6. He's in the top 6.
Yep. I think the other guys worth mentioning, like Derrick Henry,
is
probably somewhere.
Henry's up there. Gibbs should be up there, too, just because of how good he is, plus the offense.
Yeah. I mean, if Gibbs stays healthy, he will certainly accumulate the required stat. But, yeah, I mean, he is 8th, 9th, or better. And I think depending on who you talk to, you would prefer him over some other names in there.
For sure.
So he's definitely up there. Um, we hit Bijan. I think it's worth having a little mention about Kyle Pitts. 9 targets, 7
He's
catches,
startable.
65.
I mean, this is
Not
three.
bad.
We've been saying it a few times. Like, I've got to see him put more stuff together. Put more stuff together. After his goose egg, let's see here. He had the one bad week, 3 targets, no catches. Since then, he has had 8 targets, 7 catches, 88 yards. That's 15 points. 5 targets, 3 catches, but 70 yards. That's 10 points. And now 9 targets, 7 catches, 65 yards. That's another 13 points. I mean, in this landscape, you'll take that, and B, that's a startable tight end.
If you had to guess where he is on the season for tight ends right now, where do you think he's at?
I would guess around 7.
He's at 6.
Okay.
He is right there. Now, you just hope that Isaiah Likely doesn't have a big week because he would jump him. But assuming that doesn't happen, he is going to sit steady at 6.
If you told me after the first month that's where he was going to be, I would have taken it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's getting back to startable range. He's getting there.
Drake London,
because they've
6 for
actually
6.
go ahead. I was going to say
Oh,
the
no,
same thing with
I
Drake
jumped
London.
you.
They've actually kind of figured out where the targets are in Atlanta. They're kind of getting there. I mean, Drake London's obviously the one receiver, and now Pitts is getting his looks.
Yeah. Let's see here. How about
Obviously,
can I interest you in some Titans and Bills?
You may, only because of who's the Bills quarterback is.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Josh Allen. Hello, sir. And they added in Amari Cooper and things
Immediately scores.
Landon
Well,
called
not immediately, because that first half was rough. I was like at halftime, I'm like, Josh Allen, like 4? Like, are you kidding me? And then they absolutely poured it on in the second half.
Yeah, they killed him. Absolutely murder in the second half. I think it was 27 unanswered points in the second half.
I mean, in the end, are we surprised the Titans are, in fact, terrible and the Bills are quite good?
Not even a little bit. I do want to. I mean, Keon Coleman had a breakout game, which I think is worth a mention and maybe worth a conversation. He had
I think
4
Amari
for
Cooper is
125.
very good news for Keon Coleman.
That's where I wanted to go with it because Keon Coleman was their man beater. And obviously, Amari Cooper is a much better man beater than Keon Coleman is, but it frees up Keon Coleman to not have to face the top opposing corner for whoever they're playing, and he is clearly talented. It's just a matter of how talented. I don't know if you have any particular feelings about Keon Coleman, but I think at a bare minimum, it was just nice to see him show some juice.
I mean, I don't think he's starting unless you're in a relatively deep league anywhere. But it's nice to see, and it's something to keep your eye on because for those reasons, I mean, Amari Cooper is going to pull some coverage off of him. It'll be good for him to have a veteran in the room like Amari Cooper he can learn from because, I mean, let's be honest, I think Khalil Shakir is pretty good, who he also had a pretty decent day, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But as good as somebody like Khalil Shakir is, I mean, is that the guy you want teaching Keon Coleman to be a wide receiver 1? No.
No. Dalton Kincaid goes 3 for 52, which was nice to see, but we are a pretty good ways into the season, and right now Dalton Kincaid is your tight end 10 in fantasy football. He's got the 1 touchdown, but it's not quite been
Dalton.
what we were hoping for.
Need more than that.
Got to need a little bit more than that. I don't know if we're going to get to a point where he is an upper echelon tight end. Like, he just feels like he's a solid, doesn't kill you, but doesn't really help you either kind of tight end, which is a disgusting place to be at in fantasy.
Yeah, no, it doesn't feel good, but he's one of those guys you're going to put in there. He's going to get you 5-6 points, probably locked in, and hey, there's a shot he scores a touchdown. That's really what he is right now.
Disgusting.
Don't like it.
I'm pending tonight's game. I think there is a chance that if Mark Andrews is halfway decent tonight, by halfway decent, I mean like 4 to 5 catches, 40 plus yards.
Something, Mark. Anything will do.
A pulse. I think Mark Andrews, because of the way tight ends are, if you've got now 3 straight weeks where Mark Andrews is like in the offense at least a little bit, I think you can consider a Mark Andrews start over Kincaid.
I'm scared to start Mark Andrews, but I hope we get there. I would like to get there.
I'd be terrified, but I think you could probably do it. Bengals Browns.
This was gross.
This was disgusting. Absolutely.
On that same
disgusting.
drive that Deshaun had his injury, there was a man who scored for the Browns, and it made me very happy, Mr. Nicholas Chubb.
Things have a way of working themselves out, don't they?
That man, I was happy for him. I was very happy.
It was really good to see. I don't know what you can read into Nick Chubb's usage moving forward. He did have 11 of the team's 21 carries, which kind of surprised me. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, that came because Jerome Ford did not play, so that I'm sure had something to do with it.
Yeah. But, I mean, as they learn and figure out how to trust him, not trust him again, but, like, once he gets more comfortable, I think he's going to be a flex play moving forward.
On the other side of things, Chase Brown took a hold of the rushing offense for Cincinnati.
He did.
15 for 44. Wasn't especially great. Didn't score, but he did have pretty much a stranglehold on the backfield.
Yeah. So he's the starter for sure moving forward. I think
that's exciting.
I think you can lock him as a flex play too.
Anything else on the Bengals?
No, I mean, honestly, I'm surprised they scored as much as they did because they always suck against the Browns. Always. So it was nice to see.
To be honest, they kind of sucked again on Sunday.
I mean, they did, but I thought they were going to suck to the tune of the Browns might beat them with 7 points.
There for a little bit, it was kind of looking like first 1 to 10 wins.
I'll be honest with you. Part of me wanted the Browns to win. For the simple fact of so we can get Zach Taylor fired. Zach Taylor does not deserve that job. He does not deserve that job.
I just need you to look into the camera and renounce your Atlanta Falcons fandom and just join the Bengals fan base officially. Trade in your Falcons hat for a Bengals one, because let's be honest here. There's a lot more passionate feelings about the Cincinnati Bengals in your neck of the woods than there are Falcons.
I have more attachments to players than anything else. Like, I became a Falcons fan when Julio Jones went there because I was a big fan of Julio Jones. Obviously, the jersey back here at Alabama, I liked him there. And then he went to Atlanta, and I started following him. And I kind of just started liking the team from there. So that's kind of where that fandom came from. And I still am a fan of the Falcons, for sure. But I get attachments to players instead, and part of that's through fantasy, part of it's through watching a lot of college football. So I like Joe Burrow. I like Jamar Chase. I shouldn't like T. Higgins because he went to Clemson, but I had him in fantasy everywhere, and now I have to defend the guy. But, yeah, that's where it is.
Packers-Texans. This was a eyesore if you were expecting some passing yards from C.J. Stroud.
We need Nico back. We need him back.
Nico apparently does a lot for this offense. And see, it's funny, too, because they still managed 22 points, and that's because Joe Mixon had 115 yards and 2 touchdowns.
How was facing Joe Mixon this week, Josh?
Super annoying. Super duper annoying. It's big dumb.
Yeah.
Especially when my opponent did not play Aaron Jones. He had like a 30-yard touchdown in the first 5 minutes of, like, at 1:06 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Aaron Jones had a 30-yard touchdown. I was like, okay, woo, dodged a bullet. No Aaron Jones. My opponent did also not play. Who was it? Who was the other guy that went off that was on his bench?
Oh, gosh. Dang it. Because I remember texting you, you dodged 2 bullets because Jones was on his bench.
Brian Thomas.
Brian Thomas, yeah.
That was the other one. didn't play Brian Thomas, didn't play Aaron Jones. It's like, great, we have a chance. And then his lineup still went off.
Because he had Kenneth Walker and Joe Mixon.
Absolutely brutal. Hated it. Didn't like it. Don't want to do it again. Anywho, the Packers won 24-22. Jordan Love was awesome. He threw 2 picks, but he also threw 3 touchdowns, which I guess that's just
Brett Favre-ish over there.
It's the Jordan Love experience, dude. He
Little
throws a
Brett
lot of
Favre-ish?
interceptions. He's at 15 touchdowns, which is tied for first in the league, but he's also got 8 interceptions, which is like the worst in the league.
No, it's tied for worst with a certain other quarterback we'll talk about later.
Oh yeah, it's tied for the worst with apparently the best player in football that we will talk about later, and we need to have a come to Jesus moment about.
Yep.
Romeo
Jacobs,
Dobbs,
back to running back 1 status.
Yeah, at least by that, do you mean like top 12, or do you just mean he
Top
is
12.
for sure? Okay, yeah. I guess.
He's probably top 12. With the receiving
Probably.
work and the offense being good.
See, the
he's
problem
probably top
is
12.
when you say somebody's probably top 12, he's probably top 12, except there's like 15 other guys that are probably top 12.
So I think by that logic, we need to just expand the RB1 argument to the top 15 guys, because there really are
We do.
there's a lot of good running backs this year.
There's a lot of decent, like Brian Robinson, probably top 12, but he's also top 12, probably, along with like 17 other people.
There's 15 guys that are probably top 12. So the RB1 category is 15 players this year.
Yes. Anyways, anything else on this one?
Nah, I think we're good.
Okay. How about the Dolphins and Colts? Let's have a chat about Anthony Richardson.
Let's just speed through this one. This was boring.
This was a super gross game.
Anthony Richardson is a bad quarterback. For real life, he is atrocious.
10 of 24, 129 yards, no
Has he
touchdowns.
hit 50% completion percentage this year?
In a game or collectively?
Both.
Let's see. I'm pulling up his cumulative stats here. He is at, for 2024, 48% completion percentage.
Well, that means he's probably gone over 50 at least once.
I'm sure he has.
That is rough.
Where's his game log?
That is rough.
Where is the game log? He has hit 50% on the dot twice, but he has not gone over 50%.
So the thing with rushing quarterbacks is the reason you love rushing quarterbacks for fantasy is they do give you a floor. The problem is you've got to have something in the passing game to boost you a little bit.
He has not had a passing touchdown in 3 games. He's given you good rushing floor, but he also hasn't given you a rushing touchdown since week 1. So collectively, he has only scored 4 touchdowns on the season, and I know he went out of the Pittsburgh game with an injury, but part of the Anthony Richardson argument is, at least on a fantasy perspective, he's got to score touchdowns, and he gives you, like, he's preventing these weeks from being the worst week that you could possibly have. I mean, he's getting you 7-8 points because the rushing floor is kind of helping it not be just like horrific, but it's really bad. Really bad.
I mean, when single digits from a rushing quarterback is rough. I think Jaden Daniels just about scored as many points as Anthony Richardson did, and Jaden Daniels got hurt on the first drive.
Golly. I really want to go back and look. How bad was Josh Allen his rookie year? Like before he was good.
Rookie season Josh Allen? Oh, we can find that out. You know I got
Rookie season Josh Allen
I got Josh Allen on speed dial, my guy.
It was 2,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 12 picks. 631 yards.
He only
rushing,
started 12
8
games,
touchdowns.
though. He only started 12 games.
Oh, geez. Well, you're right. I don't know, man. I think there's still a chance that it's not
Oh, no, it
a
definitely
bust.
can still happen. I just don't know. He's got to stop sucking in the passing game completely. He's got to get some goal line work, but you have to get to the goal line to have goal line work.
Yeah, I mean, if you could just get to 60% completions like
I mean,
semi regularly.
I would think Jonathan Taylor would help, maybe at least getting them to the goal line.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jonathan Taylor is more competition at the goal line, but a boost to the offense is good for regardless.
Here, this is interesting. This is what his pace is in terms of like what he's pacing out for his final stat line to be in terms of passing. 1,900 yards, 7 touchdowns, 15 picks.
Ooh,
That is the pace we're on right now.
ooh,
So it's not good.
ooh.
Not good at all.
You,
Here's what
you,
I'm waiting for. I'm just hoping that in the second half of the season, we turn a little bit of a corner and you just stop seeing the stupid. If you can get to, like, he doesn't even, and we've been saying this from the get go, he doesn't have to be great throwing the ball.
No,
He just has to not be
That's
awful.
why we like rushing quarterbacks, is because they don't have to be good to score fantasy points. Problem is, he's been so bad that he can't score fantasy points.
Yeah. He's been really hurting the cause in the passing game, which is not great.
If they can get to, like, not even league average, like, heck, if they can be the 20th, a top 20 offense, he'll be fine.
Yeah. Anything on the Dolphins? I know Tua's coming back, but
I don't want to talk about them until Tua comes back. That's really all there is.
fair enough. I don't blame you there. Lions Vikings. This was a gem of a
Yes.
game.
Yes.
A gem of a game. Jared Goff, 22 of 25 for 280 and 2 touchdowns.
Dude, Jared Goff has got like 6 incompletions the past 3 weeks. He went one week where he went 18 for 18. He was 22 of 25 here. I can't remember what the other one was.
Here is his 17-game pace. 4,500 yards, 28 touchdowns, 11 picks.
But what's his completion percentage pace? That's the thing.
Well, it's 73% is what he's at right now.
That's pretty good. That
That's
is
real good.
pretty dang good.
Real good.
I mean, Joe Burrow is always like, it's always impressive watching Joe Burrow because like every year he leads the NFL in completion percentage and it's like 70%. Where you're like, you never see a guy at 70%, and Jared Goff's like 73%. That's crazy.
It's nuts. It's pretty unsustainable, but since what is it? When did they play Arizona? What was this? Let's just say the last 4 games, it was 18 of 23 against Arizona, a perfect 18 of 18 against Seattle for dang near 300 yards and 2 tutties. Dallas, 18 of 25 for 303. And then Sunday was 22 of 25 for 280 and 2.
That's crazy, man. This, I do not say this lightly. This might be one of the greatest offenses we've ever seen.
That's high praise.
Just with the efficiency of like the running game, the receivers they have, the offensive line they have, the wildly efficient quarterback. Like there isn't a flaw on this offense. They can throw it deep to Jameson Williams. They've got a target monster and PPR king in Amon St. Brown. They have an elite tight end, and they have an elite offensive line, and you have the best 1-2 combo in recent memory at running back.
This is probably a good way to put it. They have so many weapons that some of them don't get used.
Yeah.
They've got fancy cars that are just chilling in the garage, but if you need them, they've got them.
And I hate to say it, Sam Laporta's unplayable in fantasy, and it's not his fault. Like, he is a elite tight end, but they have so many players. Like, we don't have space for him. We can't use him.
Yeah, they spread it around. Amon-Ra had 8 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown on Sunday, but Khalif Raymond had 39 yards. Dave Montgomery, by the way, really good receiving back all of a sudden. He's been pretty dang good this year. He had 39 yards himself. I just said him, Khalif Raymond. Tim Patrick had 25 yards as well. I mean, they're getting, and like, I texted you before the game. I was like, this might be a Jameson Williams game. He didn't do anything.
Nope.
He had 1 catch for -4 yards. 1 target, did nothing, and they scored 31 points.
But he pulled the defense off Amon-Ra.
Yeah.
He opened things up for Jameer. Like you can't stack the box and stop Gibbs and Montgomery, because then Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams is going to be 60 yards behind the defense. You can't do it.
It was beautiful. It was
And on the other
beautiful.
side, awesome
Yeah.
there too. I can't wait to see T.J. Hockenson in this offense. Can't wait.
I'm really curious how they deploy him when he comes back. Really curious what they end up doing with him, because I think once you add that extra weapon, this offense could look Lions-ish, genuinely.
Yeah. That's just going to be an extra safety valve for Sam Darnold, who looks great as it is anyway. Believe it or not, I sent you and Landon this on Sunday, and I was surprised when I saw it. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, each of them only have one game in double-digit targets this year. And Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are both on two of the best offenses in the league, and they have yet to hit double digits more than one time.
That is crazy. And they've been good.
Yeah, they've been good. They're both top 5 receivers for real life and fantasy.
How about the fact that Justin Jefferson is scoring touchdowns?
That's that's a scary Justin Jefferson, right? Like, you usually can lock Jefferson in he's going to get 20 points because he's going to have 14 targets and 9 catches for about 120 yards. You don't expect the touchdown from Justin Jefferson. When he scores touchdowns, that's a terrifying player.
He is, let's see here. Oh, he's got a touchdown in every game except the Jets game.
RIP, the league. If you got Justin
Goodness
Jefferson,
gracious.
you're feeling good about your fantasy team.
Holy cow, yes I am. Having him in Ordinary Gentlemen is just very nice, because
And I feel like he's not even been that great.
No,
He's got
just
13
been
points,
very,
21 points, 17 points, 17 points, 12, 17.
Yeah.
Like, you can lock him in. He's scoring 17, maybe more, and then,
and that's the half PPR scoring.
yeah, this is half PPR. Sorry.
So, no, like in PPR, he is hitting 15 to 22 points every single week. You can lock it in. I would love for him to go get me 40 one week or two, but I'm not mad.
No, this is great. I'm very happy.
It's quite nice. The Eagles mollywopped the Giants 28-3. Daniel Jones got benched because they were trying to find a spark, and they did not get it from Drew Lock. Drew Lock was 3 of 8 for 6 yards. Fun fact, in case anybody was wondering. Every time I saw clips from this game, Daniel Jones was getting sacked.
Yeah, no, I was watching Red Zone, and I wanted to claw my eyes out every time they switched to this game. Like, stop it. Move on.
This was disgusting. The Eagles scored 28 points, and I didn't think the Eagles really played all that well. Saquon Barkley had a day, but I didn't think the Eagles played all that well, generally speaking.
I saw this, and I thought it was cool. It was a clip from the Eagles. Near the end of the game, Sirianni came over to Saquon, and he said, look, if the Giants don't score here, I'm planning to pull the starters, but you're 13 yards away from your career high. He said, I want you to get that record, but only if you want to. So he's like, I'm planning to pull the starters, but if you want to get that record, we're going to get you that record. And Saquon said, no, put the young guys in. Let them get some time. Thought that's pretty cool.
Love to see that. Love to see that.
That's pretty
Team
cool.
guy. I think he's just enjoying the fact, and the Eagles haven't been amazing, but they're still
He's enjoying winning.
He's enjoying the fact that he's not on a 2-5 team.
He said, that could have been me over there. And I don't like that.
Yeah. And I feel like, honestly, the Giants have, dare I say, overperformed at points this year.
A little bit. And it sucks for Malik Neighbors because as great as he's been, this was the worry about him, is because sometimes that offense is going to be just so bad that even he can't overcome it.
I am glad, though, that even in a game like this, that it was unwatchable if you were watching the Giants. They didn't score an offensive touchdown. Neighbors still gave you a semi-reasonable 4 for 41.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just glad his real
8
bad
points is not
isn't-
ideal in PPR, but that's not the, well, I guess it can be the reason you lose a week, but it's not the worst thing that could happen.
Right. It's not the 1 catch for 6 yards on 7 targets kind of week. Which is, I mean, that can happen. Chris Olave has been known to do it.
Man, Chris Olave. Oh boy. Trading him was the best thing I did this offseason. That's the best thing I did this offseason.
What'd you end up getting back for him? I don't even remember.
Oh, it was an absolute beauty of a trade. I didn't think it was going to work out at first. It was during the offseason. It was, the hype for Patrick Mahomes was high because he got all the weapons. And then the hype for Josh Allen was low because he had lost everything. And I like Chris Olave just because he was, young and still is a good receiver. I traded Mahomes and Chris Olave for traded Mahomes, Chris Olave for Josh Allen, Cooper Kupp, and a first. And that, even though Cooper Kupp has missed time, Chris Olave scored less than Cooper Kupp last week with negative 0.5 points.
Yeah.
And that first right now is like a locked-in top 3 pick. So
that's amazing.
I got Josh Allen, who's the QB5, and a top 3 pick in Cooper Kupp for Chris Olave and Patrick Mahomes.
That is just how you drew it up, wasn't it?
That could not have worked out better.
That's a wonderful
That
thing to see.
could not have done better.
The Rams beat the Raiders 20-15. Honestly, outside of
We need to talk about two names here. Two names.
Yeah. Kyron Williams, Brock Bowers.
Correct.
End of list. I don't know
Alexander
how...
Madison's playable. Alexander Madison is playable.
Yeah, he had 90 yards. I'm just pulling up target numbers here for tight ends because I want to see the gap. Oh, wowza. Okay. Do you want to know the gap between number 1 and number 2 in terms of targets at tight ends? It is 18 targets. You lowballed it.
Yeah, that's
Brock
2 full games worth of targets, basically.
Brock Bowers has 5 more catches than the number 2 target earner at tight end does in the league. George Kittle's number 2 in targets with 42. He also missed a game, so George Kittle's been very good. But Brock Bowers has 47 catches.
Pending what Trey McBride does tonight, Brock Bowers is alone in tier 1 at tight end.
I don't think that even if Trey McBride... Well, I mean, let's put it this way. Trey McBride is 22 targets less.
Trey McBride has
Brock
also
right
missed a full game.
Well, he has. That is a fair point. So there's that.
Trey McBride's like 1.5 games. I mean, if Trey McBride goes out there and has like 10 targets, 8 catches, and a touchdown tonight, like
it's very possible.
I think he could be tier 1 as well. But if he doesn't, Brock Bowers is clear tier 1.
I just need Brock Bowers to score a little bit. He's got 1 touchdown on the season, but he's giving you... I mean, he's giving you...
When your tight end has 10 catches and 90 yards, I don't care if he doesn't score. I don't care. I'll take that. I don't care.
I mean, he's giving you 15 to 20 every week without scoring in PPR leagues. It has been real, real nice.
My gosh, it's so good.
He's everything. How many fantasy points does he have? 101.
He's everything I wanted Kyle Pitts to be.
Yes. Do you want to know where he would be for receivers right now in fantasy football and
Top
PPR?
20, I would think.
He would be the wide receiver 13. And he is 1 point out of being a wide receiver 1.
I give up. He's a first-round startup pick.
I would do pretty...
In tight end premium leagues, he's a first-round startup pick.
I think I would do relatively disgusting things to trade for Brock Bowers in the leagues that I don't have him right now.
I want to push the button. I do. I'm scared
to
because it's going to take too much, but...
Oh, it's going to be disgusting how much you'd have. He's so good. I can't get it. It is nasty. Anyways, Commanders Panthers 40-7. Jaden Daniels leaves. Doesn't matter. They win by a lot. Brian Robinson's good. Marcus Mariota's good. Terry McLaurin is good.
It's hard to even
Outside
look
of
at the
Chuba
stats
Hubbard.
for the Commanders because like the game was so lopsided. The stats don't matter.
Yeah. I mean, they brought in Austin Eckler, got carries. Jeremy McNichols got carries. I mean, yeah. It just... just a beatdown.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
outside of Chuba Hubbard,
salvages it, but that's it.
he is a very solid NFL running back, but on a game like this,
I would say he's just very good.
yeah,
If he doesn't get another shot with the Panthers, he needs to get another shot somewhere. He's very good.
he will get a shot somewhere if he doesn't get another contract with the Panthers. Is he a free agent right now?
How many years has he been in the league? He's a 4th round pick in 2021, so
That would probably be a 3-year contract, wouldn't it?
is it 3 or 4?
See,
Can't remember.
I could look this up, but it's let's see here. Okay, Chuba Hubbard. He is an unrestricted free agent next year.
Nice. Go somewhere nice, Chuba. I hope good things for Chuba Hubbard.
I do too. I'm pulling for him. On a situation this bad, for him to be as good as he's been, I'm pulling for him.
Yeah.
Chiefs, 49ers.
Gross.
Chiefs win 28-18. The two quarterbacks here, which happen to be my two starting quarterbacks in Ordinary Gentlemen, combined for 0 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions.
Patrick Mahomes
So that was fun.
Is tied with... Who did we mention at the beginning of this video?
It was Jordan Love.
Tied with Jordan Love for the league lead in interceptions. He has 8 to 6 passing touchdowns.
It's not good.
Part of this is as a longtime Josh Allen fan, I do not like the Chiefs for that reason. There's a little bit of Chiefs fatigue as well. Like, I'm just tired of them winning. And the fact that they're winning these boring, slugfest, ugly games is just so much worse. Like, if they were winning and Patrick Mahomes was the QB1 on the year, like, I wouldn't even be as mad. I'm like, you know what? Patrick deserves it. He's going out there and he's doing his thing. But these games are boring, ugly games.
Yeah, they're gross. This will really tickle your fancy. Guess who's averaging more fantasy points per game right now than Patrick
Deshaun
Mahomes
Watson.
is? I didn't have
Probably
that name.
not that far off.
Well, there's a halfway decent gap there, but it's Bo Nix.
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix is averaging 15.5, and Patrick Mahomes is at 15.2. Who else is here? Caleb Williams is averaging more than Patrick
Bo Nix
Mahomes.
has better stats than Patrick Mahomes. Bo Nix has 5 touchdowns and 5 picks.
Yeah. And 100 less passing yards. And I'm pretty sure Bo Nix had a game this year where he threw for less than 100 yards. He did. He has a game this year where he threw for 60 yards.
Justin Herbert. Where's he at? Okay, no,
it's
pretty low.
it's
Never mind.
30. It's not good.
Oh, he's pretty bad.
It's not good at all.
Okay,
Not good
never mind.
whatsoever.
That was the wrong name to throw out.
Yeah, in terms of total fantasy points from the quarterback position, Mr. Patrick Mahomes, your best player in the NFL, is at quarterback 22.
Has Patrick missed games? Is that why he's the quarterback? Oh, no, he hasn't missed games.
No, hasn't missed
Is
games.
Travis Kelce hurt? No.
No,
Travis Kelce's
no.
healthy. I'll give him Rashee Rice is hurt. But he sucked when Rashee Rice was healthy.
I just love that he's getting projected by everything at like 17.5 to 18 points per week. Every time you pull out the projections.
Gosh, that'd be a miracle if he hit 17 points.
The projections, and it's all on reputation, but the projections that he gets every single week are higher than in any game that he's scored all year. His highest total in any game this year from a fantasy perspective is 17.4. He scored 14 points 4 times.
I mean, the fact
That's
that we have
disgusting.
basically a season and a half of this, it's not a fluke anymore. It's a trend.
So I don't know how to have this conversation because, like our buddy Landon said last night
You're just disrespectful is all you are at this point.
in the
Not
group chat,
disrespectful.
he is. Everybody knows he's the best player in the NFL. The problem is he is playing like there's pretty much any quarterback could be thrown into this offense and it would be better.
I mean, in defense of Mahomes, when the play needs to be made, and this is what everybody will throw in your face as soon as you try to say anything negative about Mahomes. When the play has to be made, he makes it every single time. He makes it without fail. He
does.
He is not the reason the team is in the position to make that play. I will say that. He's not the driving force behind this team right now.
I went as far as to tell you last night that Patrick Mahomes was not the most important player on the Chiefs roster in terms of generating wins and losses at this point in the season. That player is Chris Jones.
No, that player is not a player. It's the coach.
Is it Andy or Spagnuolo?
It's Spags.
I don't know if I'd go. I just wanted to talk strictly players.
Just
But I
okay,
feel
we're talking
like-
strictly player. It feels blasphemous to say, but this is frustrating to watch.
It's incredibly frustrating because we know how good he is, and he's not playing. Like, forget playing to his ceiling. He's not playing to his floor. And
Yeah, like if Patrick Mahomes was coming out here and throwing for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns every game, I wouldn't even be mad. Like, that's Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the league. But 8 interceptions and 6 touchdowns?
it's not good. And it honestly, it's a struggle right now for him to get over 225 yards passing. He's done it 3 times, but he's also got 2 games of 151 and 154 yards. He's got a game against Atlanta of 215, and he's turning the ball over every single game. He's got an interception in every game so far this year.
Who was it? Justin Simmons,
Yeah.
the safety for Atlanta now. He said there's at least one time every game Patrick Mahomes is going to throw you a ball you can pick off. You just got to time it up when it'll be.
Yep. They had 4 rushing touchdowns on Sunday. They scored 28 points, and Patrick Mahomes was terrible.
I really hope Landon doesn't listen to this episode because he might unfriend us.
He's going to be livid. If he listens to this, he's going to be livid.
Oh, he's going to there's not going to be any Dynasty podcast for a while because he's not going to speak to us.
He's going to be so mad. Somebody's got to say it, though. At a certain point, like, I understand there's a different argument for greatness than there is for current performance. The current performance is abysmal. The greatness argument is separate. I don't want anybody to take this,
I'm not gonna
clip it, and say we think Patrick Mahomes sucks.
I'm
He's
still picking
just
him to win the
playing
Super
bad.
Bowl.
Yes. I have no reason to believe that they won't. The problem is he might throw for 200 yards and 2 picks, and they might win anyway.
The defense is that good.
This is honestly one of the best defenses I've seen in a while.
This is
It's
a
suffocating.
borderline all-time defense.
It is suffocating. Okay, Kareem Hunt, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Great.
He was great. For the 49ers, I guess I kind of want to just toss this out. Like, Brock Purdy has been known to have one of these games. It honestly happens every year where it's a no touchdowns, 3 picks kind of game. Everybody thinks the sky's falling, and they're fine.
Last year it was Cleveland. This year it's versus Kansas City.
Yeah, and it was Baltimore last year. I think he did it as well, and they were fine. I'm not really taking anything away from this. I guess my only question for you is, with Ayuk missing the season, does it change how you view any of the other pieces in the offense?
Not particularly, just because all those guys have their own. All their roles are so niche. It's like everybody does something different. Like Deebo Samuel's play style is completely different than Brandon Ayuk's, and George Kittle is completely different than everybody else. It sucks losing Ayuk because he was a key piece to the offense. but it doesn't change how they're going to use Debo or Kittle or anybody like that.
Fair enough. Steelers molly-whopped the Jets. Scored 24 points.
So Devontae wasn't
unanswered in the second half. Apparently not. I don't know what the deal is with the Jets defense, but they have not been very good defensively the past couple weeks.
People, by the way, also owe Mike Tomlin an apology because he was getting clowned for going with Russ after Fields led him to 4-2. And Russ just had one of the best games he's had in a very long time. Russ actually wasn't bad last year. 26 touchdowns and 8 picks.
Not bad. That looked like 4 years ago Seattle Seahawks Russ. 264-2, and he had the rushing touchdown as well.
Like, it's kind of what Russ is. I mean, the Broncos situation just wasn't good. And when Sean Payton came in there, they flat out threw him under the bus. They lumped all of the blame on him and then shipped him off.
Yeah. They had to have a scapegoat. And he wasn't the problem. He was pretty decent. But everybody knew that there needed to be a new sheriff in town or something. I don't know.
And I do think that Russ's play style fits well with what the Steelers want to do. They have got to have something down the field, which Russ does extremely well. George Pickens thrived with Russell Wilson under center. So, yeah.
Not to mention the running game has been good now for like a couple weeks. Najee Harris had 100 yards and a touchdown. And Najee Harris has been pretty pedestrian rushing for like 3 years. And then you look up this year and it's not half bad. We got 2 straight weeks of, he had 14 for 106 and a touchdown against Vegas. Then he has 21 for 102 against the Jets and another touchdown. That's not bad. He's 7th in the NFL in rushing yards right now.
I would absolutely flex Najee wherever I had him, except I don't have him anywhere.
I don't either.
I have no Najee shares. Up to this point, that has felt really good.
Yes, until the past 2 weeks when it's been kind of surprising, like, wait a minute, Najee's not terrible anymore. He's got 100 yards.
Najee has how many yards a carry? What?
That's crazy. For the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know what happened. I didn't watch the second half. The final numbers don't look terrible, other than the 2 picks. But he threw for 276 yards. What did you watch this whole game? Because
No,
I went to bed.
Part of the first half, and I watched kept up with the rest on Twitter and read a lot of Twitter posts the next morning. People are clowning on Garrett Wilson for dropping a big ball, which he did. He dropped it. Devontae, he did not have a great fantasy game, but my concerns are also basically alleviated. I mean, he came back and right away had 9 targets, which we discussed this, doesn't really surprise us. Garrett Wilson still had 9 targets. But you texted me this yesterday, and you might be right. The Devontae Adams, rather than helping Devontae and Garrett Wilson, elevated the crap out of Breece Hall.
Yeah. Wasn't especially great on the ground. 12 for 38. Did have the touchdown.
They've got to figure out something on the ground. They've got to do something. That's bad.
Yeah, they're offensive. I don't know what it is. I don't think that Breece Hall or Braylon Allen are bad runners. I think this is an offensive line situation. But what Devontae did was he opened up the underneath passing game, and Breece Hall is electric after the catch. He had 6 for 103, and it was not like they ran him on streaks. He was catching 5-yard dump-offs and turning them into, in one case, a 50-yard reception.
Let's not forget Breece Hall is 220 pounds, and he runs a 4.340, like an elite athlete. He's up there with Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Bijan, and Gibbs as like the most athletic, explosive running backs in the league.
Yeah, he's so good. And I would feel incredibly encouraged with all of your Breece Hall shares because it's been a little rocky here the past few weeks. If you get, 40 yards receiving 30 to 40 yards receiving every week that you can count on with him, which I think is very possible. We sort of saw this last year, right? It didn't matter that he wasn't efficient running the ball. He was getting a large amount of work in the receiving game, and he was getting all the goal line work. And so
receiving running
didn't
backs
matter.
it's like a rushing quarterback. They don't have to be good runners. If you're going to catch 8 passes, you're going to have a floor of 12 points.
He also happens to be one of the few guys that is a true home run threat. And so if he does get an opening, there's always a chance he can go rip a 70-yard run on you.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the offensive line issues are, but they're bad.
Lock Brees Hall into your top 5 again.
Yeah,
It's been shaky, but you feel really good now.
Yeah, you feel pretty good. Anything else on any of these games before we dip out of here?
No, that's about it. I'm ready for Monday night. Really hope Chris Godwin has a big game and Mike Evans doesn't. And I just want an old school. It won't happen. It is impossible with how the Chargers play. But I would love an old school Kyler versus Justin Herbert game. That would be so much fun, dude.
I would love it. Listen, I would love for Kyler Murray and Trey McBride to be awesome. If they score 49 points combined tonight, I'll be a happy camper. It'll be fun.
I need a 52-point combination from Trey McBride and Kyler Murray.
I hope that does not happen, but I will take 49. You can hit the median and you can be sort of happy.
I don't want the median.
Beat me.
I don't want the median. I want to be the number 1 team in the league. I don't want the median. Because I think Landon's going to win, and he was pushing me for 3rd. So regardless, whoever loses our matchup drops to 3rd in the League of Ordinary Gentlemen, and which puts us, for the time being, out of the first-round playoff bye, which is all I want.
The schedule in that league for me is looking pretty nice. I've had my little murderer's row now for the past few weeks, and it's been a struggle. But now I get a little bit of relief on the schedule front, so if I can get back into number 1, I think we'll be okay for the first round bye. We'll see how it goes.
Landon actually could still lose. Dang it, the problem is Baker Mayfield needs a big game, and I don't want Baker Mayfield to have a big game.
The conflicted nature.
I don't like this. I'll tell you what, Baker Mayfield can have a good game if Chris Godwin has a huge game. I'll make that deal.
Fair enough. Hooey. That's all we got for this one. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening, for watching. If you are watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening wherever you're getting your podcasts, go ahead and give us a 5-star review wherever you're listening. That would mean the world to us. We'll see. Well, Ben will see you when he and Landon are doing the Dynasty episode later this week. Have a good one, everybody.
If he doesn't listen to this.
As long as he doesn't take the Patrick Mahomes slander to heart, there will be a Dynasty episode later this week.
We'll see.
Have a good one, everybody.